Well, for those who are just joining us, my name is Brian Wyatt. I am the president and CEO of Be Easy Graphix. We are a team of visual storytellers. We believe that every brand has a story, and so our team is actively working to build, create, and share those brand stories with scroll-stopping visual experiences and ROI-focused marketing strategies. I am happy to be here, and I am so grateful to Erica Thaler at COCA for giving me this opportunity to help people connect online with Zoom. I've been using Zoom for years since I was in the military in order to connect with people across the world. And I have a Zoom Pro account because I saw the value in being able to connect with both my clients, my family, and my friends across the nation and across the world. And so I want to give Erica a few minutes to talk about COCA and what they do there and how they can use Zoom and how they can help you and still connecting through the arts. Go ahead,
Sure.
Erica.
Well, this just seemed like the best first workshop for us to do. I know that, so I have two college and graduate age students, and they're immediately on Zoom and they're connecting. But I noticed that some of the professors I know are like, wait, we haven't used Zoom before. And so I thought, well, if I don't know how to use this, I'm assuming there are other people that don't. So this is where we've started. And I think this is going to be our future for a while. And I know there are other technologies, but it seems like Zoom is going to be a nice common denominator for everybody. So I'm not going to say too much more, except that if you want to stay connected with COCA, the best way is our newsletters, as you all know. But I'm available. I'm always, you can email anybody on our team with our first name, like, Kathleen at TallahasseeArts.org or info@TallahasseeArts.org. We are here. We're working really hard, and we're trying to, take care of people's individual needs for funding, posting, promotions, whatever you guys need right now. So that's really all I have to say. Hi, Amanda. And I'm just delighted and very, very thankful, Brian, you've made this so easy. I'm kind of blown away. So that's all I have to say. Does Kathleen, do you want to say anything, Kathleen? Okay. All right, here we go.
You said no? Okay. No worries. Well, thank you again to Erica and Kathleen at COCA. I'm excited to do this. So before we begin, I'm going to give you a brief overview of what we're going to talk about. Some of the things that I want to cover and I want to make sure you have a clear understanding of is one, how to get set up, choosing plans, pricing, creating your account, and then how to join a meeting. I'm not sure if you saw my video prior to this that I posted in the Facebook group, but it was pretty fun to watch if you did catch it. On how to join the meeting, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that today because there's several different ways you can join the meeting. After that, I'll show you how to create and schedule a meeting or start an instant meeting, and then how to host a meeting, some best practices when you're actually hosting the meeting in order to make sure that you have a good virtual meeting and it's not interrupted, that you keep track and accountability. And then I'll open it up for Q&A. So I'll ask that everyone who joins to kind of write down their questions and save it for the end because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I know we have some busy people here, and I know it's even more frustrating and hard to coordinate and work remotely. So I want to make sure that I'm respectful of your time. So I'm going to keep it moving if it's all right with you all. And I'm going to jump right into how to get set up. In doing so, I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to go to my browser here. All right. So here you can see that I'm at zoom.us. This is where you get started to create your account. I'm going to minimize all the videos of all the pretty faces here and put it in my corner. And then one of the first things that you'll want to check is to check some plans and pricing to find out which one is right for you. Of course, there's a free account. So if you just want to try it and you're not really sure what's best or how it works, go ahead and try it out with the free plan. But if you have a larger organization and need some more advanced capabilities, it would be a good idea to talk to the sales team before you opt into a paid plan. Just to make sure that you get the right features that you're looking for, because there's a ton of add-ons that Zoom has, like Zoom Phone, Zoom Rooms, webinars and events, and all kinds of other add-ons for audio and cloud storage. You want to make sure you get the plan and the right tools to help you achieve the goals for your organization to connect online. So I strongly advise to avoid just jumping into a plan and talk with the sales team to make sure they get a clear understanding of your goals. Now, of course, they're a sales team, so they're going to try to upsell you on a few things. Make sure you stick to what you need and focus on that because they will make everything else sound like rainbows and horse and unicorns. So you don't need unicorns. You just need to get your work done and connect with people online. So once you choose a plan, if you're a nonprofit, I do know of some nonprofit discount codes. If you're a nonprofit, contact me after this meeting and I can help you get some discounts on your Zoom subscription if you choose the Pro, Business, or Enterprise editions or want any additional paid add-ons, okay? There's also some other discounts for other organizations and just some general discounts that I have access to. So when you create your account, set up a call with me and we can talk more about it. I'll drop my link in the chat so that you can engage in that. Speaking of chat, just to take care of a few housekeeping items, make sure that you close all other browser tabs when you're on the Zoom meeting, just because it helps with the performance of the video and audio. So it's not robot-y and breaking up and getting cracky and you're cutting in and out, all right? You also want to keep your mics mute during Q&A. I know we just had some people who just joined us. And I do want you all to find the chat and engage in chat. You can drop some questions in there and I'll ask them in the end, but communicate with each other in chat just so we know what your thoughts are so far. All right. So once you choose a plan, go ahead and create your account. After you create your account, you'll be sent a verification email. Once you get that verification email, you need to sign in to verify your email address, or you can connect your Zoom account to your Google account or Facebook. I choose Facebook just because just about everything is connected to my Facebook. Of course, you won't be able to see my password here, and I'll block that out. So now I am in my Zoom account, now that I'm logged in. Now that we're here, the best thing for you to do is install the Zoom client, right? If you don't have it on your computer yet, that's one of the first things that you'll need to do. To find that, I need to move this video. You can come over here to Resources tab in the top right corner and click Download Zoom Client. And you want to make sure that you have the most updated version. I clearly do not have the most updated version. I have 4.5. I did not know that there was a 4.6. So I'm going to go ahead and download that now. I'm not going to install it because it might interrupt our meeting, but I will have it just in case so I can update it later on today. So I'm breaking one of my own rules right now is to keep the most up-to-date software. One of the reasons you want to keep the most updated software is because there are also often security updates because people can hack accounts for various reasons. And the older the version you have, the more likely it is that someone has probably hacked it. And you don't want to make you or your participants and guests vulnerable to hacks of Zoom and other online accounts. All right. I'm not trying to scare you, but anything that you put on the internet can be hacked. So you want to make sure it has the most up-to-date version. All right, so now that you've got the Zoom client, go ahead and install it on your computer, on your Mac. They have a Windows version. They also have apps for Apple devices. So that's iPads as well as iPhones and MacBooks, whatever device you have. And they also have Android versions for Google phones and Google tablets or Android tablets. It is good to have that device everywhere because that allows you to join, host, and schedule meetings from anywhere you are in the world. And that's one of the best ways that we can stay connected, all right? Now I'm going to jump into how to join a meeting. I still have people joining the meeting. It's like the whole Wiener family is with us now. And I'm going to mute all again. All right, so everyone can hear me okay still, right? Give me a thumbs up. Type a yes in the chat. I just want to make sure that everyone hears me good. All right. I got some yeses in the chat. All right, cool. So one of the things that I want to do to join a meeting, right? The first thing you want to do is go to the meeting invitation. And I'm going to go to, actually, I'm going to go to my calendar. And I might want to spell my username correctly. So usually when someone creates a Zoom meeting, they're supposed to send you a calendar invite that has the link to log in. Once you get that invitation, you can open it up and click the link that is in the calendar invitation. That is one of the first ways that you can join the Zoom meeting, all right? The next way to join the Zoom meeting is from the mobile client. So I can download the Zoom client on my phone, and then I can click this join button. Since I'm already in the meeting, it will not allow me to join another one. But once I click this meeting, I can choose the meeting ID to join a meeting that is in progress or about to start. I can join a little bit early. The meeting ID is always the last 9, 10, or 11 digits that is on the Zoom join link, all right? So this 812-364-802, that is the meeting ID. So whenever you're sent the link, you can find that ID there. All right, we still have people joining us. All right, the other way that you can join a Zoom meeting is by dialing by your location or with one-tap mobile. When you receive a notification of a scheduled Zoom link, I'm gonna put my computer on Do Not Disturb. You'll get these numbers in the invitation. There'll be a Chicago or New York number if you're on Eastern time, but also there are several other numbers that you can use if you're on different time zones. And then you can find your time zone using the number for your time zone using this link here. So if you're in a whole other country, or if you're hosting meetings with people in other countries, you can find the dial-in code for that country, that time zone that they're in here on this page. And that is always the default in Zoom meeting invites. And of course, the meeting invite will have the meeting ID number as well. So that is how you join by mobile, all right? You can also join by email. So if I open up my email, I should find the registration email that I sent to COCA, or I sent to Erica. And in here, there's a click here to join. I can click that link and it will take me to the same Zoom link, and it's going to show that the meeting's already in progress. So I'm not going to click it, but in every meeting invitation, there's a join link. You'll also want to add that event to your calendar by clicking the Add to Calendar button or link in the invitation that you received to make sure that you don't forget about the meeting. And the cool thing, if you have Google Chrome has a Zoom extension that will send you a desktop notification when a meeting's about to start, all right? And you can also schedule meetings from that extension in the Google Chrome browser. Got it. All right, so that's how you join a meeting. Now, when you join a meeting, one of the cool things you can do is add a virtual background. To do that, I shared that before. I'm not sure if you can see what I'm doing here, but when you're in a meeting, at the very bottom, there's a toolbar that gives you the option to mute your mic, stop the video, and then there's a little drop down there. If you click that drop down, you can click on video settings, and that will open up this window here. Can you see this window that's in front of me? Type a yes in the chat if you can see it. All right, so you only see my calendar. Okay, Rick says yes. No, Jan says no. So you cannot see the settings window that's in front of me. Only see calendar. Okay. Well, follow along with me if you're on a computer. Apparently Zoom won't allow me to share my settings. Well, let me try this way. We'll do new share, desktop. All right, do you see it now? Type a yes in the comments if you see my setting screen. Thank you. All right, Dorothy sees it. Jim says no. I've got mixed answers, yes and no, yes and no. I'm sharing my entire desktop. You should see the setting screen. So it looks like the general consensus is a no. So you still only see my calendar. All right, well, evidently Zoom will not allow me to share my settings window, but if you're following along on your computer, look down at the scroll bar, click the drop down arrow next to the video, and then you can see something that says video settings. And once you're there, you want to check your audio and video before the meeting. And then you can also add a virtual background. There's an option there for that as well. Here's my virtual background. This is a custom background that I created in Canva. Now I set it to so that the background color, oh yeah, maybe the type of device. So some people may be able to see my settings and some people can't because of the device. That's a good point. All right, so when I choose a virtual background, it's best if you have a green screen because it's easier to detect green than any other color. But otherwise you can choose the color that you want to make the virtual background on. So for me, it's a light tan color. And so anything that is close to that light tan will be my virtual background, including if my face or my hands has that same shade. So you'll see that there looks like there's some holes in my hands right now. That's because there are certain areas that are tan, just like my background, because I don't have a green screen. So I'm going to disable my virtual background for now. And for all those who are on the call right now, I want you to go ahead and try the virtual background. Try to find it on your current system if you're on, by going down to the toolbar next to the video button, click the drop down and choose virtual background. And then also toggle between your video and audio settings. I just want to make sure that you know where that is. If you found it, type in the comments, say found it, just so I know that everyone or some people have found the settings while you're in the meeting. All right, Amanda found it, Kelly found it, Taylor found it, Rick found it, Erica, yeah, found it before we started. Got it. All right, so everyone's got that part. So that's how you join a meeting. Now, to create a scheduled meeting, there are several ways you can do that. One of the first ways, if you're seeing my desktop right now, type in desktop in the comments. I'm gonna go back to my account. Got it. All right, so from my account, I come over here to the left side where it says meetings. I will click meetings, and from there, I can schedule a new meeting. All right. One of the first things you want to do when you're scheduling a new meeting is to give it a topic or a title. This title will be what you see in the link above, right? So when you go to a page, for example, when we created the Learn Zoom with COCA, this is the topic right here that you'll see. That's the topic. The description will be the second paragraph here. So from here down is a description that we typed into our Zoom meeting. After you add a description, you'll want to set the date. You can set it either that same day or weeks, months, perhaps even a year in advance. You can set the duration here, whether it's going to be 2, 3, 4 hours. Now, it's important to note that if you have the free Zoom account, you can only schedule a meeting for 40 minutes. If it goes beyond 40 minutes, Zoom will cut the meeting and you'll have to restart it again and rejoin. So that's one of the benefits of having a paid Zoom account, is that you can have uninterrupted meetings. But if you're okay with having 40-minute meetings, go ahead and keep the free plan. If you want the paid plan to get longer meetings, send me a message. I'll get you a coupon code to help you get started today. All right. You can also set the time zone depending on where you are, and decide if it's going to be a recurring meeting. For example, I have a recurring meeting with my team on Mondays at 1 p.m. So I can set a weekly meeting here, and it's going to be on every Monday. And I can set that it's going to end by a certain date. So I can make that date 2021. By going a whole year in advance, I can make it 2022. Or no, furthest I can go is a year. Or you can do it after a certain amount of occurrences, up to 20 occurrences. All right, you can set the days of the week. So it can be recurring on Mondays and Wednesdays, or it can just be one day a week. And you'll do the same thing, set the time above, make sure everything is accurate. One of the great things about Zoom meetings is that you can require registration. You can require that attendees have to register before they can join the meeting. You can also set it that they have to register for each occurrence if it's a recurring meeting. Or you can set it to where if they register once, they can join any other meeting after they're registered. All right. If you don't want it to be a recurring meeting, you can still do registration and make it required to join the Zoom meeting. Now, meeting ID. The generate automatically means that it's going to generate a new meeting ID for every meeting that is set. So that means every meeting that this is selected for will have a different meeting ID. Now, if you choose the personal meeting ID, this is a meeting ID that is assigned to your personal account. That means that every meeting that is scheduled with this current meeting that I'm creating right now, whether it's recurring or not, will have the same meeting ID, which is my personal meeting ID. All right. So if you want a different one each time, you will choose generate automatically. If you want the same meeting ID every time, you'll choose personal meeting ID. You can also require a meeting password. Now, this is great, especially if you want to monetize your Zoom account. This is something that I'll be teaching on April 13th if you're interested in that. You can require a meeting password so that only people who have been given the meeting registration link, the meeting join link, and the meeting password can join the meeting. So you can restrict access to a very select group of people. This is also good for government officials if they need to host meetings in private. Like when I was in the military, we would have meeting passwords. Or if it's a public meeting, of course, you don't have to require a meeting password. Perhaps you can even host commission meetings with Zoom. And you can stream them live on Facebook, just like this one. All right. Now, you can also set the video and audio default settings. So if you want the host video to automatically be on when you join as the host, you'll select this option. If you want the participants video automatically on when they join, you'll select this option. To choose the audio, you can require that they only can dial in by phone by choosing telephone. You can also require that they have to have computer audio, which gives you better reliability and quality, or you can just give them the option for both. You can also choose the the country that they can dial from here, and it'll provide them with the dial-in numbers for that country. If there are multiple people from multiple countries, you'll want to make sure that you select the countries that they are in to make sure that they get the dial-in number for their country. All right. This is important for people who are working internationally with clients, with participants and other event registrants. You want to make sure that they have a number to dial in from their country. Otherwise, they'll have to pay for a long distance call, and that could be expensive. Trust me, I know. I accidentally made a call to Barbados without doing this first, and our phone bill for Verizon ramped up quite a bit that month. All right. Now, you can set some meeting options here by choosing to allow your participants to join before you join. So if I wasn't on before at 10:40, you could have joined before me at 10:30, right? You would have been in a waiting room because I had this setting enabled as well, enable waiting room, which means that I have to admit you before you can join the meeting. I have to click a button to allow you to come into the room. Otherwise, you'd be sitting there waiting and you'll see a notification that says, waiting for host to join the meeting or waiting for host to allow you in the room. All right. You can also automatically mute participants as they enter. You can also only allow authenticated users to join. That means that they have to sign into Zoom before they can join the meeting. This is cool because you can add alternative hosts to your Zoom account. Now, it is important to note that in order to add alternative hosts, they have to have a paid Zoom account, which means that if you can't host it, you can have someone else host it, but they have to have the same a paid subscription to Zoom in order to host the meeting for you. So it's good to have this backup in place in case you can't make it, especially if it's for an important meeting, because it allows someone else to fill your place. So it's always good to have at least one other paid subscription to have your back when you need to cut out or if something happens, if you get sick. I mean, life happens for all different kinds of ways. And of course, my favorite setting is to record the meeting automatically. Now you have two options to record the meeting. You can record the meeting and after it's over, it will download and save itself on your local computer in a folder that is pre-designated upon installation, or you can save it in the cloud of your Zoom account. With my account, I get up to 1 gigabyte of storage to save Zoom meetings. So depending on your plan, you can add more storage or have less storage, but that gives you an option in case you don't have the space to store a whole bunch of long meetings. And it saves in multiple formats. It saves in video format and also saves in audio only. So you'll have both in case it's a telephone only call. You don't need the video, and the video will just take up more memory and space. So you can just use the audio version and not need the video. All right. So once you have that meeting scheduled, you'll click the save button and it'll create a new meeting. And once you have the new meeting, you'll see options like this one for today to add to your Google Calendar. You want to make sure that you add it to your Google Calendar. It is important to do this and set up notifications for that meeting. Once you click to add to calendar, and it doesn't have to be Google Calendar, you'll see that it has Outlook as well and Yahoo Calendar. So it has a few different options if you don't have Google. Once you add it to your Google Calendar, over here you can, or your Outlook calendar, you can add guests. So I can add Erica and type in her email address. And they will get a calendar invite, or if you're doing this via Outlook, it will send them an ICS file. An ICS file can also be downloaded to a mobile phone and added to the mobile phone calendar file. Don't know what ICS stands for, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the universal meeting formats that can be used in multiple devices. But that's great to send to people so they can add it to their calendar from any device that they're on. All right. Oh, one thing that I wanted to add, this wasn't necessarily on the agenda, but if you're capturing people's information upon registration in order to send them communications later on, it is important to post a link to your privacy policy according to new GDPR privacy policy laws and regulation. All right. So this is a registered, a Zoom invitation or a Zoom meeting that requires registration. And because it requires registration, it provides me with a registration URL. All right. From that registration URL, it'll give information, and it has a form at the end in order to register people that is also spam proof. All right. Now, this information, just because the meeting is scheduled doesn't mean that your work is done here today. I know it's only been a few minutes since we scheduled the meeting, but there are a few other things that you can do, especially if you have a pro account, right? So with the registration, you can come down here and edit the registration settings by clicking this edit button over here on the right. Once you click that, you can either automatically or manually approve people who register for the event. That means that every time someone registers, if you have manually approved, you have to approve them before they get the registration confirmation email with the details to log in and access the meeting, all right? So this gives you the ability to vet and screen your participants. Oh, thank you for that, Dan. So ICS stands for Internet Calendaring and Scheduling. All right. You can also send a notification to yourself or have a notification sent to yourself every time someone registers. I like having this just so I can keep tabs and see the people who are registering in case I want to send thank yous or recognize them when they join the call, or of course to take attendance to see who registered versus who actually attended, all right? You can also close registration after the event date. So that means that the date that it happens, the date and time that the event happens, you can make registration impossible. I don't want to do this because I still want to help people and know who might have been interested. So I keep registration open even after the event date. And of course, I add social share buttons on there. One of the cool things you can also do is edit the registration questions. So I'll click here where it says questions, and I can choose addition to add information and decide if it's going to be required. So for example, I could have required that you add your city and state here. So this allows you to add custom fields to your registration form so that you can get more information about your participants. If you're a consultant, this is important to know so that you can align the purpose of the meeting with the specific goals and profile of each attendee, right? You can select all or you can unselect all, but you have that option to add even a field for them to ask questions or give comments. A cool thing you can also do is create your own question by clicking new question. You can decide if it's going to be a single answer or a short answer or multiple answers. You have that option there, right? So this gives them a multiple choice answer option, and then this gives them the short answer option. One thing you can also do is customize your registration email, right? Once people register for the event, and if you have to approve them, you can approve them. You can edit the registration email here by clicking edit. Now you only get to edit the second paragraph and the last paragraph. But in that second paragraph is where I provide specific instructions on how to join, additional resources, and of course the link to our privacy policy for the reminder. All right, So I need to disable their call. Hey, there's Curtis. All right, now you also want to edit your email address to make sure that people are sending any questions or comments to the right email. And you can make sure that this box is checked to send the confirmation email to everyone who registers. All right, I'm going to cancel that because I don't want to make those changes. You can also add some custom branding. For example, this is a banner that I added to the event, and it's really just a cropped version of what was on Facebook. But this banner specifically is 1280 by 400 pixels, right? That's the maximum dimensions that it can be. The minimum is 640 by 200. So you can create a custom graphic like this in Canva, which is a free tool for graphic design. And you can also add your logo. Now it's important to note that the logo maximum size is 400 pixels squared, and the suggested is 200 pixels squared. So this allows you to make sure that when people register and they get to the registration page, that they know that they're registering with the right organization for the right event by putting a custom graphic there. All right, so that's the branding. You can also add a poll, right? You can add questions like, have you used Zoom before? And then I can make answer 1 yes and answer no, right? And then this will be available when people register. So there's a poll for the event now. And you can also live stream on Facebook Workplace, which is for your employees if you have that app, and on YouTube. We're streaming live specifically in the Facebook event, but you can also stream live on your Facebook timeline or in a specific Facebook group. Oh yes, you can add a feedback survey after Zoom. So that's a good point, a good question, Erica. All right, so that's how to create and schedule a meeting. That's one way to do it from the web browser. You can also do it from the Zoom app, and I'm not sure if it'll let me. Do you all see my Zoom panel here in the middle? Type Zoom in the chat if you see it. I'm still sharing my desktop, so I'm hoping that my Zoom panel is seen here. Do you see my Zoom client panel, my Zoom client dashboard? All right, Zoom. All right, we got it. All right, so from my Zoom client dashboard, I can click this schedule button here to do the same thing to schedule a meeting using the desktop app for my Zoom client. You'll do the same thing. You'll add the title, decide if it's recurring, set the date time, start and end time, decide what you want the meeting ID to be, whether it be automatically generated and randomly generated, or use the same personal meeting ID. You can also require a password. Eric can only see desktop still. Yes, Maria, this recording, this meeting is being recorded. All right. From the scheduling meeting, you can also edit the video, audio settings, and send the calendar invite either by iCal, Google, Outlook, and other calendars. There are some advanced options like allowing people to join before the host, the waiting room, record the meeting automatically, and to mute participants. Now it has a limited options as opposed to the web browser version, but you can at least get started with scheduling the meeting and then go to your account from a web browser later on to edit the more advanced settings. All right, so that's how to schedule a meeting and create a meeting. Now, you can also click the join button here, or here where it says back to meeting. When that's not enabled, this is enabled because I'm in a meeting right now, but when that back to meeting button is not enabled, it has a start new meeting option. That's how you can create a instant meeting, which means that it will instantly log you into a meeting of using your personal meeting ID that you can invite people to. So if you have spontaneous spur of the moment meetings that you need to set up, you would just click that button there. Now, when it's time for the meeting, to start the meeting and start hosting the meeting, you'll come back to your meetings, right? You'll look at your list of meetings. You'll click on the one that is scheduled for that day. And then you'll see a button over here that'll say start meeting. But since I'm already in this meeting, it just says join now. So I'm going to go to another meeting. Let's go to um, the virtual business networking, which will be on Wednesday. There's the button to start the meeting. Once you click that button, it's going to open up the Zoom client on your computer if you have it on your computer, or you can join that same meeting from the mail client, from the Zoom app on your mobile device or tablet. All right. So once you start the meeting, one of the first things you want to do is prepare a good meeting space. So I'm going to end my share and I'm going to show you my meeting space. So my meeting space right now is against a tan white wall, right? I am facing a window. So the natural light is coming from the window and shining on me. I also have a ring light, which is adding some additional lighting for me. That additional lighting is very helpful to make sure that people can see you clearly. And it also helps because when the meeting is actually recorded, people's resolutions and color settings on their screens are different. So you're going to make sure that you have good lighting to avoid people not being able to see certain features and things when they're looking at you or if you're showing them something, right? This would be for people who are in the arts. If you're doing a performance, you can record and stream a live performance using Zoom. You want to have good lighting to make sure people can see everything, right? Especially if they're paying good money for it. Now, as the host, you want to go ahead and start the meeting 15 to 20 minutes in advance to make sure that you can check your audio, check your video, and add a virtual background if you need to. I went through adding a virtual background before, but for those who came a little bit late, I'm going to show you my virtual background. This is one that I created in Canva. It's 1920 by 1080 pixels. I designed it, downloaded it, and uploaded it through my Zoom client here. Now, I don't have a green screen. This works best when you have a green screen so it can differentiate between the host, me, and the background. Green is the easiest color to see to do that, not tan because most of my skin is tan. So that's why you see some holes in my face, right? So I'm going to disable that for now until I buy a green screen. All right. Now, as the host, you want to test your audio and video settings, and you want to have a backup plan just in case technology is not your friend that day, because it happens. So it's good to use that telephone conference line or that number that is provided in information so that people can dial in at the very least if they can't see each other. Or you can find other options like Google Hangout as a backup. It's free and it gives you the ability to screen share. It doesn't give you the ability to record unless you have Google Meet. But it'll help get you through the day if there are some errors with your Zoom account. Now, to do this, you will need an internet connection. You will need a computer with the latest Zoom client and or a mobile app, because you can do this from your phone as well. You'll need the Zoom mobile app on your Android or iOS Apple phone. Now, welcome. It's important to welcome participants as they join. For example, I'm going to welcome Christopher Davis back again. Because it lets them know that they came to the right place, because some people might be a little bit confused when they join the meeting. Like, how do I click this button? How do I unmute my mic? You want to let them know that you see them, that you acknowledge them so that they know they're in the right place at the right time. All right. Then once you welcome them, you want to admit them from the waiting room. So you might get a notification in Zoom if you have the waiting room enabled. That'll allow you the ability to go ahead and click the button to admit them. It'll take a few minutes for their mic to warm up, but you want to make sure that they can hear you and see you as well. So ask the question out loud. Hey, can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you check your computer audio? Make sure everyone is connected, and encourage people to join 5 to 10 minutes early just so they can do that. You also want to record your meetings as often as possible, because it's very likely that something will be said that you didn't write down, that you cannot remember, and you don't want to miss those things. So having it recorded will be very, very helpful. And it's important to note that you can record either on your on your computer or in the cloud. If you record in the cloud, it'll save space on your computer. If you record on your computer and a meeting goes on for 2, 3, 4 hours, it will take up a lot of space. So you want to make sure that you're really considering the amount of space that you use to record your meetings. You should also consider streaming your event live to Facebook or YouTube. This is great for organizations who have a strong social purpose, in order to include and encourage the public to join and participate, because certain Zoom subscriptions have limited amount of participants. For example, only 100 people can join this meeting. So far, we have about 30 out of the 52 that were registered. But because we're streaming live on Facebook, there may be hundreds of people who may be watching this. And once we share it and download it and save it, there'll be even hundreds more who can see this, okay? So consider streaming it live to Facebook so that the public or a specific group can see it, or people in a specific Facebook event can see it. And it's also very important to stick to the agenda when you're hosting a meeting, because people will get off track. They will ask questions. They will go on different tangents. And that can take up a lot of extra time that you didn't have planned or scheduled for. And it's very inconsiderate of people when they're taking time out their day to go through all the frustrations and dealing with technology to join meetings, and it's not ending on time. So it's very important to stick to the agenda and end it on time. So it's going to require that you be a good host and manage your time and the agenda appropriately. All right. And then lastly, during Q&A, you want to make sure that you repeat every question that is asked so that people will understand and can hear it on the recording if necessary, because some people may have missed a question that was heard. They may have cut out. There's all kinds of reasons, but it's very important to repeat the question before you answer it. Speaking of Q&A, I'm going to go ahead and open it up for Q&A right now. It's 10:47. I'll give us about 5 minutes for Q&A. Does anyone have any questions so far? You can unmute your mics. I'm going to ask that you go one at a time. Or type in the chat if you have a question. Say, hey,
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So when people see the recording, they're going to see exactly what I'm seeing in front of us and all of our, okay.
Yes, and every screen that I shared as well.
Okay.
They should see my screen shares as well. Now, like I said, Zoom might be a little funny because it didn't allow me, or some people couldn't see my Zoom settings window in my Zoom client. So it may have been just some redundancy of showing Zoom on Zoom, but otherwise they should see everything. So there's a Stephanie Posner asks, so we had a delay in Facebook Live from Zoom. Why might that be? That could be several reasons. We have 30 people streaming right now. So there's a lot of connections. There's a lot of different IPs, a lot of different computers who are coming all to the same stream. So it may take a while for the video to stream from my computer and my Zoom client to the Zoom server, to the Facebook server, and then to everyone else's computers or phones who are watching. Yes, you can share notes, agendas, and PowerPoints in Zoom. I wish I could share my actual Zoom screen. Let me try it. Yeah, I don't see an option to share my Zoom screen. I see an option to share my desktop. But when I do that, yeah, I'm going to open up a random PowerPoint. I'll open up my buyer persona template. All right, so if you can see my PowerPoint presentation right now of the buyer persona template, type in PowerPoint in the chat. So Kelly Dozier asked, what is the best way to recognize people within a meeting so not all talking at the same time? A chat list. So Kelly, that's a very good question. That's usually what I do. I would ask people, say, if you have a question, type it in the chat. Or I'll ask that they say, I have a question in the chat, and then I can unmute their mic and give them an opportunity to ask. Because if you have hundreds of people who are talking live or on the same chat and all their mics unmuted, it will get overwhelming. You won't be able to hear anyone, and there's going to be all kinds of lags and delays because there's a lot of information processing at the same time. All right, so Jan Smith asks, if you have a paid plan, can you add an alternative host? Does the alternative host have to have a paid plan, or can both use the organization's plan? So Jan, to answer your question, yes, both have to have a paid plan. Now, there are some discounts that are added for adding multiple users for the plan, but yes, you have to pay per user, and that user has to have a paid account to be an alternative host. And there's also, Curtis brings up a good question to Kelly. There is a raise hand button in the chat. So if you do have a question, you can click the raise hand button, and that'll acknowledge people and recognize people who might have questions or something to say during the meeting. One thing you can also do, I'm going to share a whiteboard, right? You can share a whiteboard And you can draw using the whiteboard if you have ideas that you just need to draw it out. Now, me as a creative, that's very important to me. So we use whiteboards to explain complex ideas, right? You can also save what you draw on the whiteboard by clicking the save button once you're the host. You can also add shapes. You can type in text. It's pretty much like hosting a meeting in an actual conference room. It's pretty cool. Yes, thank you, Kathleen. Nonprofit organizations can buy licenses for non-users for $140 a year. So again, there's so many great choices for nonprofit organizations, and I think even government organizations. So another thing you can share is I can plug in my iPhone and I can share my iPhone screen via AirPlay, especially if I'm on a MacBook. So I wonder if it'll share. So let me see if that'll work. You can also do it via cable too. Well, yeah, that might be too complicated right now. But yes, you can share what's on your iPhone onto Zoom as well. Any other questions? Any other questions, comments? Was this helpful? Did you learn something new? Type a thumbs up or thanks. Okay, so I got some thanks. All right, that's my whole goal is if you learn something new that you didn't know before about this app, about this tool to communicate across the globe via video communications, let me know in the comments below. Just a few quick things as far as next steps. One, you'll want to go ahead and create your Zoom account. I'll type in a link in the chat because my family and I strongly believe that if we're going to support any other brand or tool, we might as well get something for it. So we are referrers and resellers of Zoom. And so it'd be great if you created your Zoom account using our affiliate link. And I'm hoping that this is the right link. Yes. So that's the link to join Zoom. And contact me if you're in need of discount codes, whether you're a nonprofit organization or for-profit. I want to help you get started with Zoom. Also, don't forget to download our Zoom checklist that is in the event description. I'll also put that on here as well so that you can download that Zoom checklist to help you get started. It kind of covers most of everything that we talked about today. And it gives you step-by-step instructions to make it happen, to host a good meeting, both before and after the meeting. And on April 13th, I will be hosting another Zoom tutorial, a live Zoom tutorial. So basically, in case you didn't know, video is king of content. And there are several ways that you can monetize your Zoom account. Whether you're, no matter what type of organization you're part of or what you do, there's a way that you can generate revenue using Zoom. And if you want to learn how to do that, you can join me on April 13th. That'll be 2 weeks from today at 11 o'clock a.m. And you can learn how to do this for just $20, all right? For the first 100 participants, I'll drop the link to that in the comments as well. So if you're interested in learning how to do that, I'll show you how to set up a paid event, how to enable the payment features, and how to view and manage the registration emails that are sent with the paid links and instructions, and then how to refund fees and make Zoom, and then of course, exchange some Zoom event ideas. So I'll drop that link now. Someone just asked about it. I know you can hear my keyboard. All right, so that's the link to that event to learn how to make money with Zoom. All right, and if you have some ideas, if you're confused and not sure how to do that, I'll give you a few tips here. I have a time for a few. So if you have an organization and you want to learn how to make money with Zoom, type in what you do, what organization you're from, and what you offer, and I can give you some ideas right now. I like challenges, so challenge me. A synagogue. So you can stream services, right? So I have a friend that has, so right now I'm on my computer. We have iPhones, and most newer generations of iPhones have really good HD 4K cameras. But there are also a set of cameras that you can buy on Amazon that have integrations with Zoom, and you can put them at different locations in the synagogue, and you can live stream your services, right? And then even as a synagogue, you can offer a fee for services for people to register for events and activities via the video conference using the Zoom. A used bookstore. Oh, that's a great idea. I love that. So bookstores, you can do a live book reading, right? So you can have an author come from somewhere around the world to the bookstore or to a private location when it's just the two of you, still remaining physically distant from everyone else, but you can have people pay in order to hear the live book reading to hear a few chapters from the actual author of the book. Oh, performance streaming. I've been waiting for someone to ask me about that. I've had a few people register from the Barbershop Quartet, from Shakespeare. I'm really excited about those. I wish I could come see those, and I know we're trying to stay physically distant, but it would be great to see some actual arts performances. And you can also stream those live to Facebook as well. You could create a registration link, and you can require that they pay via PayPal or make a donation of any amount, right? It doesn't have to be a high fee that you charge unless you're, helping people make millions of dollars, right? But for things like art, you can ask for donations and integrate a PayPal button. And then at the end of the PayPal button, you can enable that they're redirected to a registration page like your Zoom registration, right? So I would love to stream or see a concert streaming. I've seen DJs all over Facebook live streaming their shows, their music, and they're using Facebook Live. However, you can use Zoom to do this because Zoom will allow you to record it and then post it on YouTube. And once you post it on YouTube, you can make it a private link and only allow certain people to access it, perhaps people who have paid. So there's tons of ideas that you can do to stream arts performances, bookstores, jewelry stores. If you have something of value, people want to experience it. And so it's really about creating the value of the experience and then selling that, right? And then promoting that and generating revenue for that. So if you want to learn more about how to make money using Zoom, click the link. I'm going to drop it again one more time here for you all. And I'll do those sessions on April 13th. All right, so if you have any other questions, go ahead and email me. The email is in the registration, or you can contact me offline or on Facebook. I'm looking forward to meeting each and every one of you and seeing how I can help you with your Zoom account. Erica, did you have any questions or final thoughts?
No, only that this has been fantastic. And again, if you have questions, please email COCA, info@tallahasseearts.org, email Brian. I'm excited about continuing to do these. It looks like we're on to something pretty exciting. And also, Brian, just big kudos to you, man. You are on it. You are like, how do we connect with the public immediately? And so that's why you're here today, and I'm really impressed. Thank you so much.
You're absolutely welcome. So I'll end the recording here, and I'll stay on for an additional 5 to 10 minutes in case anyone want to ask any one-on-one questions. All right. For those who are watching on Facebook, I'm going to end the live stream. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.